What we do is digitize. A lot of utilities still have a lot of stuff on paper. And a lot of the data that is coming into the utilities are still in the shape of paper. So we have built platforms to digitize a lot of this in 100 years worth of papers, particularly certain gas assets, electric assets, and also continue to keep the data coming because the contractor lets us build a pipeline in a subdivisions where new houses are getting built. That information comes in a piece of paper into in most of the utilities, 95% of the utilities. I mean, a name one, I mean, everybody, they call it as built.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Palash Das, owner of Pinnacle Consulting. How are you doing today, Palash?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I appreciate you spending some time with us here on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Pinnacle Consulting.
Yes, I am Palash Das, and I used to work for Pricewaterhouse and then IBM for a little bit after college. And since 2003, me and my wife, Moshmiro, both of us started Pinnacle. So it's going to be 20 years this August. So it's been a while. And so we were serving utility industry, both of us. And so we continue to serve the utility industry. And that's kind of, and we have survived so long ourselves, and we have grown. We have close to about 150 odd people doing different things, and 90% of our work is utility industry. In fact, more, about 95% of our work is utility industry. And we're excited about that, and we expect to see more utility join and give us an opportunity to serve.
Well, it's a completely other podcast, but you'll have to tell people how it is you can work with your wife for 20 years and still be smiling the way you are.
Well, yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's a giant rabbit hole. I am not touching that one. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the more specifically what Pinnacle Consulting is doing.
Yes, that's I mean, both of us, me and my wife, I used to work in the energy sector for Pricewaterhouse, then became IBM and stuff, and we were building billing systems. And we use Pricewaterhouse, IBM, they're very large companies. They dealt with very large utilities, so we were part of the team building billing systems. So since we started Pinnacle, we continue to serve the utility industry. That's been our focus, and it's going to be our focus. I mean, and what we do is digitize. A lot of utilities still have a lot of stuff on paper. And a lot of the data that is coming into the utilities are still in the shape of paper. So we have built platforms to digitize a lot of this in 100 years worth of papers, particularly certain gas assets, electric assets, and also continue to keep the data coming because the contractor lets us build a pipeline in a subdivisions where new houses are getting built. That information comes in a piece of paper into in most of the utilities, 95% of the utilities. I mean, a name one, I mean, everybody, they call it as built. And we have a process to take it and make sure that we even help the utility to standardize, because let's say your utility in one city operates very different from the same utility operating in another area, just because the growth might be because of acquisition. There can be several reasons, but they all operate differently. So we standardize them, work with the contractors that are working there to standardize the type of data coming in, all the engineering data that's coming in. And we digitize those engineering data so that the utility can use them for several ways, and build platforms so that we can manage them, use them, and also for the future, we build platforms so that they can come in a digitized fashion. So we are helping utilities get more and more digital in their approach in a very sustainable way. And also we have a good testing platform. So as the utilities, we build systems, other companies are building systems. So as they are being rolled out to production, we certify them production ready just to make sure that everything is working. So we work with all the projects to figure out what the business is looking for, find out a way to test those systems so that when they go being used, they're used in a a very predictable way. So that's kind of our focus is has been digitization and testing. And any systems, we build several systems to digitize the data and also take the old data and digitize and test. So that's kind of our journey. And our focus has been vegetation management, which is very, all utility spend. I mean, the primary reason of the outage, let's say you got a snowstorm, you lose power at home. Just because there's a tree which gathered ice or so it fell on this wire and the pole broke down, you lost power. That is the primary reason of outage is vegetation. And that has been and the utility focus, but it was not managed very systematically. And we are the first set of companies building a very, very focused software platform to manage this entire process. And we are getting traction in that area. So while we do digitize, so we kind of build this platform so that as they are trimming the trees and stuff, we get feedback automatically into the utility and stuff. So that focus has worked. It is picking up. And we are one of the major provider of that service to manage the vegetation. Plus, there are a few other platforms. So that's kind of has been our focus and then will continue to be our focus for a foreseeable future.
It's hard to fathom that in 2023, anyone is still dealing in paper.
I know. I mean,
the idea that there isn't a tag on every service truck in the country and you're capturing data right at the street level doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. It's still happening that drawing it in a piece of paper and sending it. Let's say a contractor is given a work to install a pipe, to give you a pipe at your house and put a meter. That contractor is going to show up at your house and then dig a line and connect it to the main, which is on your street. There is a big pipe on your street. And the line that is coming to your house, he'll draw it in a piece of paper and submit it, get their payment and walk away. And you can start a company and start doing that, install gas services. I mean, that's that's what is happening, and there are millions and millions of them getting generated every day. If you add up each and every house built in US, getting a gas is getting a paper added to the utility basket, and we are there to digitize. Yeah, any utility out there trying, I mean, they can understand this issue. They probably have this same thing. And we are definitely there to help them out.
Back up a step to your vegetation conversation. Any of that involve drones in terms of?
Of course. Yeah. So that's So vegetation is part of one thing is it's a very cyclical thing. So basically, let's say I have 10,000 miles of wire. A typical utility with 1 million customers, some are going to have about 12,000 to 15,000 miles of overhead lines, depending on how much rural area they are. So more rural you are, more overhead lines. Anything underground is vegetation doesn't affect because it's underground. It's the overhead.
Yes,
where the issue is, and there are a lot of advantages to overhead. So overhead will continue. I mean, you will never see everything underground. I mean, maybe sometime in a gigantic future when both of us are out of this world. But yeah, so as part of that, there is a process that they break down. Let's say you have 10,000 miles of overhead lines. You break it down into 5 pieces. Say this 2,000, I'm going to do this year, 2,000 miles. This 2,000 miles, I'm going to do next year and stuff. And over a period of time, I have taken care of it. And they have little more algorithm to saying, this area needs every 3 years versus this is a desert, nothing is going to happen. And so let's do it every 9 years and whatever that cycle is. And so people do walk or fly helicopter or drones and stuff like that to go there and say, okay, this is that. And then they take some action. They go and cut, they climb the tree, they there being a bucket truck. Our system kind of plans to say, hey, if you want to go there, go with bucket truck, because you are going to see 3 miles of areas where you would need a bucket truck. And so that you can invoice the utility saying, hey, I have to use bucket truck, it is my pricing. So this kind of help is cyclical method. But a lot of these investor-owned software companies, they are focusing in a little different angle, saying that, hey, I can just fly an helicopter and then process the image and tell you where the issues are so that you are not walking 2,000 miles anymore. You are going to identify those 300 areas that we think there is risk. You send there and do and so. So that's in our radar to go to, but the utilities are not confident that it is covering the risk as a guy walking. They want to ensure that somebody is over there and they did see it, they took action. So our system monitors that. But while they are walking, they also do structural health of the structure that they are looking at, right? So this large, if you see this transmission structure, they are pretty big, they are pretty tall. If you are walking, there is no way that you can know. You have to either be on a helicopter or on a drone. So we support both the platforms when they're inspecting land hundreds of miles at a time. Then helicopter is one of the ways, or they can fly, they're called fixed wings. These are small airplanes, or you can fly a helicopter. So we do support it, and they can take pictures over there saying, hey, I see that cross arm needs some help. At the same time, if they want even closer look, they send crew with drones. But drones, you can't fly that long, and because of this regulation around this you should be able to see the drone when it is flying for it to fly. So you cannot fly it for more than like 2-3 miles at a time, and the drones can fly 30-40 minutes at a time. They need to be charged. So there are a lot of limitations on how you can use drones for utilities, because the lines are hundreds and thousands of miles.
Sure.
So, but we do support drone inspection, where when you fly, you are flying a drone. We have AI-based mechanism. You can go in there and say, hey, this picture belongs to this structure and there is an issue there, so that they can go and manage the issues and take care of the structure. So it is all about the grid reliability. And we understand this business, this subject. There are a lot of software companies I have seen, they really build software without understanding the problem they are solving. They say, here is my solution, find me the problem. A lot of these AI-based companies had a solution looking for a problem. But our focus, because we understand, it's been 30 years I've spent on it. So is my wife and our team. We have very, very senior people who have spent years and years and decades on the utility. So we know the problem. So we are trying to make a solution very focused to solve the problem that they have. Yeah, there is an aspect of it that how much future are we looking, right? How much future are we going to? 50 years from now, utilities are going to look different, right? Who knows? And should we be going in that direction? How far do we go into the future, and how much investment we are ready to make? So there are a few questions we are trying to answer. There are plenty of, investment companies over there in California. They are interested in participating in our journey. And we have not signed anybody up yet, but we certainly, as any other companies, are exploring options, see how we can scale up, we know there are technologies available which is a little more expensive, but the solution is not valued by our client yet. But at the same time, do we want to distinguish ourselves? Do we want to prepare ourselves when the client starts seeing value in it? Right? And how ready are we supposed to be? So stuff like that we are trying to answer. But if you are listening, utility guys listening to this, if you need any help in understanding what we do, we certainly would love to have a chat with you. And our solution are used by top utility, large utilities running 10,000, 20,000 miles of wire and 10,000 miles of gas pipe and stuff like that. So these are not small utilities. At the same time, we have co-ops, which are smaller utilities. as our client as well. So, yeah, if you are an utility having issues with asset digitization and asset maintenance and inspection, or certifying your systems as production ready, please let us know. And we are very focused on utilities, and we continue to be focused on utilities, and we definitely would like to explore.
As someone on the outside of the industry looking in, it's amazing to me how far we haven't progressed in terms of changing technology and delivering power in this country. You get through a hot summer or a cold winter, and a state like Texas has power grid issues, and you drive down a country road and it's the same towers and wires that were there 60 years ago visually. So, we have new ways of harnessing, the solar power and the wind and water, but we're still delivering it in a very, rudimentary fashion. So it's got to be interesting for you to bring that into the 21st century.
Yeah, of course. I think, solar, wind, and all this renewable is coming out, and these wires, maybe the thing of the past, you make your own energy. I mean, why do you want any utility to be in it? So that question still remains, but the utility, the way it is right now, is a 11 cent a kWh, which is kilowatt hour. You can run 10, 100-watt bulbs, it's just for 10 cents an hour. So it is extremely cheap, and solar and all that still expensive. They're coming out there, and they are going to be a viable solution very soon. If you build your house with everything solar, your windows, your roof, and everything, it might even, and the energy efficiency, you don't have 100-watt bulbs anymore, you have 5-watt LEDs. So, and heating the house is such an American thing. I think that has to change. Nobody heats the house or cools the entire house for no reason. And it's just unbelievable 10 cents of electricity, what it does. And you won't even believe, if you go back 100 years, electricity was really 5 cents a kWh. And today, 100 years from when it was all invented, the price of electricity hasn't changed. It's the volume that has changed, and the scale of business have changed that has enabled them to pay for the power plants and stuff like that. So it is like, and we have wasted energy by just heating up the house or cooling the house, building big houses. These are so American things. And things will change. My child, the man who is in college, is going to start working. I don't think we'll buy a house. Even we don't live in a large house, because I don't believe. I think it's just criminally offensive to live in a large house with just husband and wife living at 2 children. It just, and a large car. Although I have little larger cars, but things will change. So the demand of electricity is going down. And the utilities are facing it. That's the proof. Because all your street lights are getting converted to LEDs. All your lighting in the house are LEDs. When you have 100-watt bulb is now 5-watt, 10-watt bulbs, you are 90% of the power is not necessary for lighting.
And battery technology has
so you can
improved exponentially. And something as simple as the new M2 chipped Mac that I'm talking to right now requires, I'm going to say, about 1/10 of the energy of my previous laptop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the demand will go down. So you don't need that much kWh coming. kW load of your house will go down. Then you won't need, so maybe solar on your roof would be enough. You won't be heating your whole house. You heat that room that you are going to spend. Out of all the bedrooms in our house, we just heat the eating space and the sleeping space, and sometimes the office space. But we are heating all the rooms when there is no one. My bathrooms, right? These are unbelievable way that we are wasting energy, and so we need more energy. Anyway, I'm not going to pick my own thing by let the energy companies lose money and I lose.
Yeah, careful, they might be listening and not like what you're saying. They want us to drive up demand, not down. Right?
That's the reason utilities have stayed, because they are regulated, and regulated business. What is the need for innovation, right? I mean, so if you are regulated, you just have to operate under certain cost constraints. And as long as you're operating and you're justifying your cost constraint, then you're okay. And there is no real driving reason to drive innovation. And what thing is, it has to happen. So there is a paradigm shift that is already happening, and it will continue to happen, and there'll be new set of winners. We have large companies now, doesn't mean that they will be the large companies 20, 30 years from now. They may be different. So utilities are taking a different stance. So lot is happening. It's an exciting place to be in, and learn the business and do new things. So this is where the driving force of a lot of innovation going to happen. And we are right in the middle. If anybody out there want to participate in the journey that we have, do let me know. And I would love to hear ideas, invest or somebody who has interesting stuff. We would like to invest ourselves and see how we can, be the steady, continue to live in the future.
I typically ask what makes you stand out from your competition, but you just pointed out to us very clearly, A, you've been in the space for a very long time and know what you're doing. B, you're very passionate about the subject, and you care about both the planet and the entirety of the subject. But I'll ask anyway, what makes Pinnacle Consulting stand out from its competition?
Oh, that's another passion that we have ignited. I know large companies are serving you, just like Price, that is IBM, Accenture, and those guys. The people working there, they really, really do not feel the pain that the guy standing in the sun fixing the line. They don't, because they have never spent the time to sit there and understand the problem from the standpoint of a lineman or a guy walking and inspecting methane to find if there is a leak on the 5,000 miles of pipe that is on the ground in your city. Right? So when they are designing solutions, designing AI and all that, they really do not understand how an utility is going to use it today and right now. They might be doing something future, which again, I'm not sure if anybody even knows how the future will look like. But Pinnacle, we understand how it is, because we have stood next to the guy who is trying to inspect a large structure in the middle of nowhere where there is right-of-way management side. And the leak survey guy who is surveying the leak, walking miles and miles every day. And so things like that, here's a typical problem which Accenture on currently, right now. There is a problem in the houses that the utility is showing up in the house there to set a gas meter, and they find out that the pipe is not ready. This is happening in a high growth area because the plumber is not informing that guy is done putting gas pipe in the house. They are not part of the whole ecosystem, that information from the plumber, because the builder doesn't know the plumber. They have assigned it to a plumber. The builder is building 100 houses, given a contract to a plumber to plumb it. Plumber doesn't know. He's just going there and putting some pipe, and then, that, and the utility is sending trucks 3 or 4 times to a house to install the meter because they have no way of connecting with the plumber. Now, can we design a system to bring plumber into this ecosystem? Right? Is the utility thinking? Does don't people even know that this problem is existing? Now, utility is running some algorithm which Accenture wrote this program to say, hey man, you are visiting this 3 times. Why? What is the problem out there? Why are you visiting 3 times? What is the solution? Can you bring in? So these kind of things, if you're having a problem, we understand this problem, and we have designed solutions focused on why an utility is having problems. So that makes us different than any other. I would say we are one of the top consulting companies in the energy sector. The utility. I don't want to say energy sector because I don't know about. And I know only pipe up to 2 inch. This Exxon, who is running like a 3 feet diameter pipe. I don't know the consequences of running that kind of pipe. But definitely the utility distribution, electric distribution transmission and gas distribution transmission, we are, I mean, one of the top companies. So if anybody out there listening to it and they have an operational issue, we probably have seen it. We probably have a reasonable solution that it can work. I mean, I know other companies says AI, machine learning, and all those. They have a solution trying to figure out a problem. We have a solution to the problem that we have.
Excellent. And what sort of companies do you work best with? We're talking about large utility companies.
Yes, large utility, electric and gas. So we don't do water. I know, theoretically they are the same, but we don't see it like that because water have their own nuances. I cannot solve water problem just because I know a pipe is flowing, water versus methane. Are they any different? They are. I am no way an expert in the water distribution side, but electric and gas. These two we understand really well and we are focused on it. And if there is any issue, particularly for the field data collection side, if you are trying to gain data from the field, currently you might be getting in a piece of paper. We digitize that. We go back to history, your 100 years worth of data. We can digitize from your file cabinets all the way into the systems where the call center guy receives a call. They can use that data to find out, your gas pipe is in the left side of the house or the right side of the house. What kind of pipe it is? It is, right now they are finding out that 1962 to 1979 half-inch plastic, there is still a cheap plastic that was available, is leaking. So now, how do they know where they are? They were installed 50 years ago, right? And we have platforms to identify and have structurally go and employ this large engineering or any other installation companies to go and replace them systematically, have this progress dashboards and the whole thing. So the problem is if you know certain type of recall is happening, we can come in, help you identify because they are in piece of paper for 100 years and digitize those, get those information out and so that you can take action on them, send out crew out there to replace and stuff like that. So and Vegetation is one of our biggest platform. And arguably, I would like to say we are the best platform in the world right now if you want to manage your vegetation process. It's very focused on utility vegetation management. So,
tell me about the last couple of years through COVID, how you've managed to grow the business at such a challenging time.
Well, as long as you have electricity and gas flowing in, we are in business. So it does. COVID did impact. We lost a larger client because things shut down. We lost some projects because things shut down, and then it's a lot of that is because very large companies. It takes a while to get in. And then when you're out, then there are other people there saying the same story that I'm saying. So it is a very competitive field out there. But COVID, in fact, we have grown during COVID time. We have almost doubled our size since we were in COVID time. So COVID was an impact, I would not say, but since we are in a digital space, but we do collect physical documents for contractor. Let's say a contractor is working, they give us, we kind of create a space where all the contractors give us the documents to validate the contractor did the job right or not. These are large engineering documents, your whole subdivision getting piped. We make sure that they have recorded all the fittings and all the valves, all the pipe, the right way, the manufacturing date, everything that you need to trace back and for recalls and stuff. So there was a little bit of a problem in all of that. We had to scan the documents in every workplace. We cannot scan it in the office. But other side, looking back on it, it has not impacted us as much as we thought because we adapted, I think, to operate in the new paradigm. Yeah, it's a good lesson. And I think we have overcome that, and that gave us more confidence for the future that if something else happens, we'll figure out a way to survive.
Yeah, status quo is a dangerous concept, especially I would think in the energy sector as things are changing by the day.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Correct. Correct.
tell
And we
me,
need to, yeah. Go ahead.
no, sorry. Tell me, how is Pinnacle Consulting getting your story out? How are you marketing your company, and what value has content marketing played in the growth of your business?
Well, that's a good point, and that's actually the problem we battle. So it's kind of word of mouth. It's a very tight space where we go to few conferences and tell our story, meet people, and things like that. That's how the and these large companies, large utilities are difficult to get into because they already have people helping them. They already have some processes. It's difficult to make an elephant dance, right? I mean, you can go and tell your story. Their stories then different. Hey, I know, I understand the pain it ends. But we are trying. I mean, here, this is one of the ways can potentially be, and of course, conferences are our ways. Plus the word of mouth. I mean, then one utility industry, they are always meeting their people and say, "Hey, check out this Pinnacle." I mean, they are doing a good job, and suddenly we get this. You won't even believe that very large. I don't know, name them, but they are one of the largest utilities in the world they are sending out RFPs for vegetation management. We didn't even know. Suddenly we get this event. We would like you to participate. So I'm like, my goodness. I mean, these are guys who are running 50,000 miles of overhead lines. I mean, this is their vegetation budget is more than $100 million a year. And they are looking for a reliable platform, and they reach out to us. I mean,
Congratulations.
I mean, whether we make it or not, the fact that we celebrated somebody reached out thinking about us when this happened. So it's and we continue to, because, I mean, I'll tell you one very simple reason, because we understand the utility standing on the ground, not understand the utility sitting in an office. So that is the difference, and we would love to hear from more of them, and at the same time, actually, we are probably even scanning out because I mean, it's we have no debt, we never been, and we are just a profitable company to begin with. And maybe it's just the way we are. I mean, what is that? But that happens the way Bay Area, California operates. They have nothing, but they have billions of dollars in their back, and we have a lot, and we don't have billions of dollars. So things like that is something we need to learn. That, I mean, we like, okay, we get paid, they'll do some good work, get paid. They're like, we are going to do work 10 years from now, get paid now. That has not. We just don't know how to play that game. And we are talking to few companies who are including, you won't even believe, Goldman Sachs, company of that size, reached out that how can we participate in your journey? That was a very rewarding day for me when I heard Goldman Sachs want to participate in our journey. We haven't figured out how they are going to participate. But the fact that this is a little company based in South Carolina, when you hear digitization, South Carolina is not the first one to jump in your mind. But we are going to put South Carolina on the map, I mean, of this digital landscape, and that's one of our goals. And that probably helped. When I asked Goldman Sachs, "Hey, what do you think? What do you reach out?" They said, "We are trying to grow some business in South Carolina. You jumped out." So that's kind of an interesting story that we have to say, and we will. I mean, South Carolina will come. You'll probably see a Fortune 500 company based in South Carolina sometime in the near future.
I wouldn't doubt it for a second. It's a cheaper place to buy a home and to raise a child and to build
Buy electricity and gas.
Yeah. So, hey, here in LA, they tripled our price of natural gas right in the middle of the winter. Our bills went into the ridiculous territory. So, it doesn't surprise me that South Carolina is a fertile place moving into the 21st century.
Yep.
Change gears. What is something you would like to be celebrating personally and professionally 1 year from now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Though I think just one more recline. One more. I mean, like one Fortune 500 does the trick for us, and maybe a big partner. I mean, there are a lot of companies reaching out to us right now. Large PE firms, Goldman Sachs, somebody of that nature, and there are other PE firms that have shown interest and stuff. And they have a plan to kind of take us to the next level. It's kind of a family-owned business. From there, we want to be a corporate. So we have about 150 people now working. We want that to be in thousands, and the type of one or two more clients will take us to 1,000 very quickly.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what we are looking for. Maybe close down on a big partner or a big client is maybe I'm not treating big enough, but because of like us, but that's kind of what we are looking for.
And personally, what would you like to be celebrating? And since you work with your wife, the line between personal and
I know. Personally, I think I have two sons, and both of them are in college. One is coming out; he's going to join Ernst & Young, and hopefully he does. He's going to be a CPA. I hope he does that, and he becomes a CPA and starts his by next year. He starts his own thing. And my little one is also he's big into he's a philosophy major, and hopefully he does. He's going to go into this PhD program at some stuff. So hopefully he makes it. That's kind of it's now my children's time. None of them want this business. You never know. I mean, you never know.
Are you adopting? No, I'm kidding. I mean,
they might, Daddy, and I'm just trying to see if, when they'll be ready and stuff. So, I hope wish them well, and they do well, and that's from a personal standpoint, I guess.
Palash Das, it's been a pleasure peeling your and your company's onion for a minute here today. Please tell everyone what URL, what your website is, where they can find you, and what social media channels you're using these days.
Yes. We are trying to be marketing savvy now. Our website is www.pinnacleconsultingllc.com. It's all spelled out, pinnacleconsultingllc.com. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is something we use heavily to recruit and to send out our message and everything. Facebook and other medias, I mean, we are not that savvy. Maybe we would like to. We probably were looking for some people who can help us on that to send our word out. And we are out there. If you Google us, you'll find us. And we are looking forward to hearing from you and see how we can participate in your journey. Our slogan is living the dream. So if you want to live your dream, let us know. We probably have a solution for that.
Palash Das of Pinnacle Consulting, I wish you and yours continued success. Your energy is pretty infectious, and obviously your passion and knowledge in this space is undeniable. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.